saw it all in a brand new way. But I still had to turn my head, I still belong. Something saved me long ago. How it happened, I don't know. You say it doesn't make much sense. Still I know it's no coincidence.
Yeah, he's really good, and the slide guitar on that is exceptional, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now looking through the album, I notice you've got the kind of segue between tracks of traditional music, leading into a new track.
Yeah.
And whose concept was that?
Well, that was between T-Bone and Lenny Waronker, you know, who was the old Warner Brothers producer who produced everybody, you know. And because what happened was we had listened. See, all those songs with the segues are doing, that's where we sort of based the songs off of anyway, was these old things like that. So what we did was, so for example, you got the song Bone Dry Bones.
Yeah.
We just, the same loop you hear, we had just cut and pasted that, looped that, and let it play while everybody just jammed to that. You know, and at the time people were playing all sorts of shit. You know, everybody was playing this and that, you know.
I bet there's some good outtakes, aren't there, from this album?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's basically what it is. It's an outtake that we actually, once we got it, we sort of got in and said, okay, we got a song, so let's write the song and let's record it according to this now. Because we had some, you know.
Yeah. I noticed you got a Bob Dylan tune, Shot of Love.
Yeah.
Which was, that was about the time when he went through the conversion thing, wasn't it? And that was, I think, was probably the fourth album in that series.
Yeah.
And that's quite an underrated album, though.
Of course. Yeah. Well, people a lot of people didn't like it because he was going that other direction. So they missed a lot of different things there. But we were actually fortunate to be able to have that track and listen to it. You know, I talked to him on the phone. I said, hey, man, we're going to record this song. He's like, just make it your own. You know, that's what Hendrix do anyway, you know. So that's what we wanted to just make it our own sort of song, you know, our own thing.
So did you ask him for permission to record it? Is that what you wanted?
Yeah. We had to, you know.
Yeah.
So T-Bone knows him, and Jim Keltner, who actually played the drums on the track, he played the original version and played the version with us. So,
right.
So he recorded that song with him 30 years ago, and then now, you know, records it again with us. So. And
of course, that's shot full of gospel references, that song as well.
Of course, yeah.
And actually, Dylan's stuff even now is full of underlying biblical stuff, isn't it? Yeah, it's very rich in that.
You know. Well, that's where you get all those storylines from, you know. I mean, I tell most people, man, if you want to write some songs, you go to the Bible, you know. You got all these stories, you know, on how to treat people, how not to do, what sin, what this, what that, you know.
Yeah. Well, it's the interesting thing about the Bible is that the people who are portrayed in it are exactly as we are, you know.
Well, that was sort of the thing. You know what's so weird is, you know, people don't realize that, like, you know, that's why I really like Black Sabbath, you know, because it's all those other stories, you know, same biblical stories almost, you know.
Yeah,
it's just, you know, he's got all these interesting, you know, they got all those interesting songs that it's not the shit I'll sing, but it's, you know, it's great.
If you look at the people Jesus actually hung around with, you know, the prostitutes, the drunks, and that,
Yeah.
where would he go now if he came back? He certainly wouldn't go to the Church of England on a Sunday morning. You know, he'd probably go to the roughest parts of London if he came to London. You know,
Yeah.
and looking through the tracks again, several of them that I'd like to ask you about, but particularly I was struck by the one "I Still Belong to Jesus."
Yeah.
I think that's a really powerful song, and I wonder if you can tell us the background to that.
Well, what it was is we were sitting in the studio one day, and this guy Peter Case, he said, "Hey man, I got this song. I want you to help me finish it, and let's record a version for you. And let's see. I want you." So he played it, and we talked, and he started to sing it and come up with the lyrics and things like that, and it just sort of relates to my story, like he was saying, like coming out of the church, how did they take it? So, and I think a lot of people sort of have that same story that we all forget. Everybody seems to forget we all are children of God, children of Jesus, and things like that. And we all striving to be this perfect person, you know. And so whenever we lost, you know, so many people, like for me, you know, I can go and tell the preacher man, you know, like it says in songs, a finger-pointing preacher screams, and the preacher's always pointing their finger, but it's like, hey, man, it ain't that serious, you know?
Yeah,
You know?
it related to me. I mean, it says somewhere in the New Testament, even if we are unfaithful, He remains faithful.
Of course.
So, you know, like the prodigal son, however far away you drift,
Of course.
He's still got the hand
He's
to reach
still
out,
got
yeah.
a hand on you to let you
Yeah.
know that, hey, you know, I'm here when you're ready to come back, you know, and just, you know, live righteous.
Yeah. And the song "I'm Not Listening" is that what would you say "I'm Not Listening" is about?
You know what's funny is we wrote that song. We had the music already, so we sitting down writing lyrics. So at the time we were watching the debate,
Yeah.
you know, the presidential debate, and I guess really what it was about. It was relating to, you have all these politicians, and every time before they want to get into office, everybody's got these fantastic speeches, what they're going to do, what they're not going to do. And it was like, you know what? We've heard all of this shit. Everybody's tired of it. You know, we want the real deal. You know, America, we tired of being lied to. I'm sure people out here in England tired of being lied to. You know, it's basically, that song was written for anybody. It's like, okay, enough is enough. We want the truth, you know.
Yeah.
So if you got, you know, if you got a lot of, you know, if you don't want to tell the truth, or you want to half tell the truth, or you want to keep doing what you want to do, you can keep on talking because I'm not listening no more. You know, that's really what it was about. You know, so it's all about the people who are about bullshit.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of that around. Isn't
Of course.
And in this business, more than any other
Of
business.
course
I
it
think.
is.
Yeah,
You know?
music and politics, probably.
Yeah.
The song that, surprisingly, I hadn't come across before, but I was really taken with, was the John Lennon tune, "I Don't Want to Be a Soldier, Mama." That's a very moving song, that, isn't it? It's such a simple sentiment. What was your thoughts in recording that one?
Well, you know, see, by the time we got to that song, we had realized that we sort of had this platform of, we had, at that time we had 15 songs that, you know, they were all taken from the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 90s, current, you know. And by the time we got to the Lennon thing, you know, we were like, oh, what could we take from the 70s or whatever, and, you know. But what could be sort of this powerful message? So we listened to that, and Doyle Bramhall, who happened to be in the studio that day, he was there, and we listened to it. And like you said, at the same time, America's at war, and all these things are happening. And, you know, in terms of, it was, you know, the Bob Dylan thing, the John Lennon thing was much more of a sort of anti-thing. But we sort of had the mentality of it like, you know, the soldiers are just ready to come home. What the hell are we over there for? You know? Yeah. So that kind of thing. It was just sort of like, okay, I'm tired of, let's go home. What are we doing? You know, we're in somebody else's territory anyway, you know?
Well, that's a simple sentiment. I don't want to be a soldier, Mama.
Yeah.
I don't want to die.
Yeah.
It's very basic, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
You know, and the number of times in history that people must have been injured on the battlefield and just cried out for their mother, you know.
Well, you know what's crazy is I had 3 cousins that were over there all at one time, over in Iraq, you know.
Yeah.
Three of them all over there at one time. So, you know, they write us letters or send us emails or whatever, and it's like, they're saying the same thing. What are we doing over here?
Yeah.
Why did I sign up for this again, you know?
Yeah.
It's nothing over here. They're just walking around. Can you imagine just being over there for 3 years and what are you looking for? What are we doing? You know?
Well, I think a lot of people have asked that question, haven't they?
Yeah.
You've got a Prince song on here, "Walk Don't Walk."
Yeah.
It's another interesting lyric. Tell us what you think about that one.
Well, you know, for us, you know, what's funny is talking to Prince after we recorded it. He said, "Man, it sounds like I wrote the song for y'all, you know, for you, you know, because we recorded in such like this family way with, you know, with a celebratory thing, and that's just more of like, you know, people, you know, you should be whoever you're going to be. You know, you don't have to follow somebody to walk on the other side of the street just because everybody else is over there, you know. You know, do what's right to you. You know, don't follow somebody, especially when you know it's wrong. You know, don't be yourself, right?
Yeah.
Look at you. You be yourself, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Absolutely right.
You know?
Yeah.
Somebody go, man, what the hell you doing, man? What you know? You go, hey, you know,
I'm comfortable.
don't
like
point
this.
your finger at me.
Yeah, I'm
You know?
comfortable.
Get your own shit together. You know?
Yeah, and the song "Travelling Shoes." I mean, that's very closely based on the traditional song, isn't it? Which is a gospel tune, isn't it?
Well, exactly. That was one of the first. That was actually the first song we recorded for this record. And like I said, T-Bone had this idea. Like he brought in all these old songs. Like, and he said, "Hey, look, however you want to. He said, let's just do what people like Zeppelin and all those bands used to do. They used to listen to all this old music and let's just see what comes out of it. So we would put that version of Traveling Shoes on, which is the snippet you hear, the segue, and we jammed to that, and it was a 30-minute jam. So we sort of used the same structure as the original song. We just maybe added some different things in there that sort of...
That's what music's all about. It's about handing it on. Because like, when I get a moment, I'm going to sit down and listen to that song with my guitar and take something from it.
Well, because you know what happens now is we had a young kid that emailed us a couple of weeks ago, and he got into a lot of that old stuff, and now he's interpreting it his own way. I mean, the guy's 14 years old, you know, so
that's great.
That's what music is all about, you know.
Yeah. Interesting kind of African rhythm to that song, actually. Underlying that. And that sort of African rhythm comes back on I'm Not Listening. It was like it's sort of circular in a way. It starts with the Afro rhythm and finishes with the Afro rhythm.
Yeah, well, that was, you know, I give credit to that. That's due to the two drummers who were there, who were great, between Jim Keltner and Jay Bellerose, who they play actually weird-looking drums, you know. It doesn't look like normal drum sets, you know. They play these weird-looking drums, and they're about creating this, like they say, this Afrobeat sound, this bed of sound, of rhythm, which once you hear that stuff, you know, you can just go right on top of it and do that stuff. So it's cool. Yeah.
I'm going to draw this to a close now. One more question. As I said, it's kind of circular. You know, it draws on the whole history of black music.
Yeah.
But I wonder how your music you're making now, how you feel that relates to the kind of gangster hip hop stuff that we hear a lot of.
You know that stuff is due to, you know, you have to really bash the record companies for putting that crap out, you know, because, you know, I understand that it's people's way of life, but it only becomes way of life if you sing about it, you know, and you tell young kids this, because, you know, kids are only they're going to copy what they think is cool anyway until they get old enough. That's why the music business has deteriorated so much, because they keep telling kids, oh, this is good, 50 Cent is good, this and that is good, and they sing, and then people finally, you know, after you get out of college and you got to pay bills, you go, what the hell am I doing singing about gangster rap for? You know, I got kids and a wife now, what the hell am I doing, you know? So, you know, that music doesn't really last around, you know. It's for kids, you know. And, you know, look, and I like hip-hop. I'm not bashing hip-hop, but there's good hip-hop and bad hip-hop. Which is gangster rap and all that crap, you know.
Okay, Randolph, thank you very much.
Something saved me long ago. How it happened, I don't know. You say it doesn't make much sense. Still, I know it's no coincidence. My life is changing, who's to say? How the love was sent my way. When the night is long and dark, all you need is just one spark. I still belong, even though I turn my back, I still belong. I still belong to Jesus. The finger pointing preacher screams. He's hunting sinners in his dreams. But Jesus didn't start no war.